Praise the Lord. Today I am going to teach you about Leviticus chapter 1 to 7. So to start the book of Leviticus, I want to explain you something about the background of book of Leviticus. God has brought the people of Israel out of Egypt and sent them on their way to Canaan. Exactly 2 months after the Israelites left Egypt, they arrived in the wilderness of Sinai. In the book of Leviticus, some of the teachings God gave to the people during the year was recorded. For about 1 year in Mount Sinai, God showed his plan for the religious life of the nation. God provided them information about the 3 important systems. One is a center of worship. Second one is the priesthood. Third one is about sacrificial system. For the center of worship, the design of tabernacle is completely explained in the book of Exodus from chapter 25 to 27. Regarding the priesthood, who are responsible for religious matters, are given information correctly in Exodus chapter 28 to 31. Regarding the sacrificial system by which they could demonstrate their faith towards God is explained clearly in Leviticus chapter 1 to 7. So let us go to the Leviticus chapter 1. The Leviticus chapter 1 describes the burnt offering, which represent the consecration to God. Thanksgiving, devotion and atonement were all symbolized in this burnt offering. Burning of the whole animal on the altar symbolizes the complete devotion and dedication of the offerer, which is clearly explained in Romans chapter 12 verse 1. And so, dear brothers and sisters, I plead with you to give your bodies to God because of all he has done for you. Let them be a living and a holy sacrifice, the kind he will find acceptable. This is truly the way to worship him. That is what is explained in Romans chapter 12 verse 1. In the case of burnt offering, they have to carry on 2 rituals. One is a blood ritual. Second is washing of the internal organs of the animal. In the case of why they did this blood ritual is that the blood ritual is for atonement of their sin. Atonement means covering. To cover the sin, they shed the blood of animal. That is explained in Leviticus chapter 1 to 5. When you come to Leviticus chapter 1, 6 to 9, it explains the washing of the animal's internal organs before burning, which symbolizes the need of inner cleaning before offering oneself to God. So, offering the animal before cleaning is very, very important. Cleaning the internal organs symbolizes cleansing your soul. That is the symbolizing of cleaning the internal organs of the animal. These are the 2 rituals. One is blood ritual. Second one is washing of animals' internal organs. The next one is choosing choice of the animals. They can choose any expensive animal like cattle for sacrifice, less expensive animals like sheep or goat. They can also sacrifice the birds. That is what explained in chapter 1. And main thing is the fire on the altar was never to go out. It should be a continual expression of the devotion to God. So this is about the burnt offering, Leviticus chapter 1. This represents consecration to God. And here the atonement of sin by shedding of blood of the animal, and the cleansing of the soul symbolizing nothing but cleaning the internal organs of the animal. And the burnt offering the fire should go on continually in the case of burnt offering, and you can offer either cattle or sheep or goat or a bird as a burnt offering. So in the case of burnt offering, that offering should be burnt completely. It should not be eaten. Any part should be eaten. Every part should be burnt. So it is complete burning. It's a burnt offering, consecration to God. This is in Leviticus chapter 1. Then go to Leviticus chapter 2. It gives information about the grain offering. Okay, the grain offering, the product offered in the grain offering came from the common food of the people. They offer this grain offering to acknowledge God, that they receive all the daily provision from God. It is only for acknowledging God. Okay, the grain offering is both gift and thanksgiving. The grain offering is both gift and thanksgiving. In the case of drink offering, which explained in Leviticus 23, the similar significance is given. There wine is poured instead of grain. Okay, grain offering and the drink offering never offered alone, but always with burnt offering and peace offering. This showed that consecration to God, which pictures the burnt offering, and this fellowship with God, which pictures this peace offering, were not separated from the ordinary affairs of life. In the ritual of the grain offering, the priest burnt a handful of food with the sacrifice. Okay, and in the drink offering, the priest poured some of the wine over the sacrifice. Any food that were reminded belonged to the priest. What about the rules about leaven and honey? This is about leaven and honey. Leaven and honey, because of the tendency of spoil, were not to be offered on the altar. This is given in Leviticus chapter 2, 11 to 13. However, this leaven and honey can be offered as a first fruit offering in the case of thanksgiving to God for his provision. And in the case of law of the grain offering, the priest has to be in a state of ceremonial holiness when they ate the remaining portion of the sacrifice. Only a handful of grain was sacrificed. Other portion belonged to priest. For the priest to take that food, they had to be ceremonially clean, ceremonially holy. And then when we come to this case of the burnt offering, it should be continual burnt offering. So in the case of the grain offering also. So every day people used to come and give the grain offering and burnt offering, and the grain offering priest take the remaining portion. So each and every day the priest also have to provide that sacrifice, which implies both the priest and the people acknowledge God for their provision. That is what the grain offering represent. Next, the third chapter is about the peace offering. The main characteristic of this peace offering was that after the sacrifice there was a feast. Okay, the animal was sacrificed with blood rituals, as I explained you before. Then the Lord portion, especially certain parts and the inner organs, are burnt on the altar as a burnt offering, which represents the consecration. So the animal offering, the animal sacrifice and blood ritual represents atonement of sin, and the certain parts of the body of the animal are burnt on the altar, which represent the consecration and dedication. And third one they have to do is give certain portion to the priest. After doing all these things, the offerer can start the feasting with his relatives and friends. In the case of peace offering, it can be either a thanksgiving or vow or a personal farewell. In the case of thanksgiving, the offerer has to give his feast for his friends, relatives, not only for them, for also unknowing people also, which emphasizing the hospitality is emphasized in this case of peace offering. Okay, there is going to be a time limit was set for the food to ensure that the food did not spoil in the hot climate. In the case of offering for for thanks offering, that food has to be eaten within 1 day, because the offerer can call so many people and relatives, so food can finish in 1 day. In the case of vow or the personal farewell, the ceremony would be for more private, and number of people invited and only a small number of people, so that the food time can be increased. That is, they can finish the food for another 2 days. Okay, to remember all times the happiness of the feast. Main thing is they can be happy on the feast, but main thing they have to remember is that requirement of holiness. Therefore, all who joined in the feast has to be ceremonially clean. Okay, this is about the peace offering. In the case of peace offering, it can be given either for thanksgiving or for vow or for personal farewell. The difference of this peace offering is there might have been a feast after the sacrifice. For the sacrifice, animal was sacrificed with blood rituals which represent atonement of sin, and the Lord's portion was burnt on the altar which represent consecration. Third one, the portions which belong to the priest has to be given. Then start the feast. The feast can be finished in one day, or it can take either 2 days. In the case of Thanksgiving, it has to finish on one day. In the case of farewell or woe, they can eat the meat for another 2 days. This is the time limit, and in participating in the feast, they have to be very careful in their holiness, because therefore all who joined in the feast has to be ceremonially clean. Then next is chapter 4 about the sin offering. The sin offering was compulsory whenever people realized they had committed some accidental sin. Okay, when they broke the fellowship with God. Then what they'll do in the sin offering is the animals were killed in the same manner as burnt offering. The special feature of sin offering was the treatment of the blood. Okay, try to understand. The special feature of the sin offering was the treatment of blood. In the case of sin offering provided for the priest or the whole nation, some blood poured out on the altar, and some was taken into the holy place where it was sprinkled in front of the veil and placed on the horns of the altar of incense. This was to show that approach to God previously hindered through the sin was possible again because atonement had been made. After this, the carcass was burnt outside the camp. When people saw this being done, they come to know that their sin was completely forgiven, that sin had been judged, and the fellowship has been restored. When they will understand that, when the carcass was burnt outside the camp, the people saw that being destroyed, they come to know that their sin has been judged and the fellowship has been restored. But in the case of the sin offering for a private person, no blood was taken as offering into the most holy, into the holy place. But and also the carcass was not going to be burnt outside the camp. Instead of that, the carcass are going to be the remaining portion of the sacrifice, which is a carcass, is going to be eaten by the priest who did that sacrifice. Okay, the worshippers would have assurance that God was satisfied and had fellowship restored when he saw the same priest who offered the sacrifice on his behalf eating the same in the presence of God. Okay, this is about the difference in the sin offering. The main difference is how they handle the blood of the sacrificed animal. First one, if they give the sin offering for the priest or whole nation, the blood, some portion of the blood was taken inside the holy place, and some of the blood was sprinkled on the veil and also poured on the horn of the altar of incense. In the case of sin offering provided for a private person, no blood is taken inside the holy place. Only the blood was sprinkled in the altar, which is outside the camp, outside the tabernacle, and the carcass remaining was eaten by the priest. It was not going to be burnt outside the camp. That was the main difference. Okay, and then next chapter is about the sin offering and its uses. Sin offering could be offered only for those sins that people committed unintentionally, accidentally. When people realized they were guilty of some sins, they had to make confession and bring a sin offering. No sacrifice was available for deliberate sin, which is represented in Numbers chapter 15 verse 30. This sacrificial system provide no way of dealing with the sin that troubled them the most. Okay, in the case of sin offering, for providing the sin offering for priest, they can give a young bull. For a ruler, they can give a male goat. For a common man, they can give female goat, female lamb, 2 birds, or even they can give grain offering. Okay, now next is the guilt offering, which is given in the chapter 5 from verse 14 to to chapter 6 verse 7. Similar, this guilt offering is similar offering to the sin. Guilt offering is similar to sin offering, but in one case it is much different. That is, when it involves money or other things, monetary values, then the sin offering becomes a guilt offering. Okay. For example, the people who have forgotten to give the tithe, in such case, that person have to pay the money or goods to the priest along with an addition of 20% as a fine before presenting the guilt offering. When it involves some loss of money or property, the full loss has to be paid back along with the fine of one fifth of its value. This is about the guilt offering. So far I explained you about the five different offerings. First chapter is about the burnt offering. Second chapter is about the grain offering. Third chapter is about the sin offering. The fourth chapter is about the guilt offering. Fifth chapter is about the peace offering. And the sixth chapter is about the rules and regulations what we have to carry on during that offering that is given in chapter 6 and 7. And third conclusion, I am coming to the limitation of the offering. The sin offering and all other offering and the guilt offering offered were for sin committed unknowingly. What were the people to do when they had knowingly do the sin and they were in full guilt? There is no system for sacrifice in that case. So people in that time, what they have to do is they throw themselves before God and rely on the mercy of the God if they did some sin deliberately. That is the main disadvantage in that sacrificial system. But in the case of New Testament days, what is important thing is we know that Jesus Christ is our perfect sacrifice for our sin, and we have no doubt when we believe Jesus Christ died in the cross for our sin, we attain the salvation. That is in the case of New Testament days. But in the case of Old Testament days, how they attain salvation is that when the person who committed sin, that person has to come before God with full faith and knowing for what purpose he was giving that sacrifice, and what that sacrifice symbolizing. If we know that fully and understand it and truly believe that God is ready to forgive his sin, in that case only that particular person's sin was going to be forgiven. In most of the time, what happens in Old Testament time is they started to do the sacrifice mechanically without understanding what it emphasizes. That was the main problem which was insisted by Isaiah in chapter 1 from verse 13 to 20. So that is what it is explained in Leviticus chapter 1 to 7. For other chapters, I'll come and explain you in next day. Thank you. Praise the Lord.